Welcome back to MidPoint. The former police commissioner of the NYPD and CEO of the Kerik Group, Kerik. Bernie, let's turn to ISIS, New York preparation, and other terrorism here at home. The NYPD is now spending a tremendous amount of time to prepare for possible ISIS-inspired radicals. As a matter of fact, in the New York Daily News this morning, cops have been studying videos where ISIS fighters urge would-be recruits to pick a weapon like a knife or axe to wield as a tool of terror. I know that you've been there, and I can almost guess what your answer is going to be, but I would have to say this. Is it not fair to say that if we're preparing for these types of attacks, that cities, towns, communities would be really well served to use the New York model in order to get prepared, because New York is really on top of this, and they have to be because it's always a target?
Yeah, Ed, New York, one, has been a target dating back to 1993 in the first World Trade Center bombing, number one. Number two, we've seen at least 13 different attempted attacks on the city since September 11th. It's the capital of the economic development world in the United States, and it's going to continue to be a target. The benefit to the citizens of New York and New York City is that the resources we have there are enormous. The police department's in excess of 40,000 people. They have first responders in the fire department, 14,000. The New York City Correction Department has 12,000. Then you have the state and you have the federal agencies. A lot of police departments around the country, a lot of state police departments even, they don't have those types of resources. But I think everybody has to look at one thing. Intelligence is going to be the key to success of combating terrorism. The more we know about the people that are overseas coming back, the more we know about the people that are here monitoring these social media sites and following these ISIS and ISIL and Al Qaeda and all these things on social media, the more we know about that, the better off we're going to be.
Is it not fair to say also that Zale Thompson was the guy in Queens who attacked the cops, and apparently he was jihad inspired? Isn't it important to note that the word inspired, but not necessarily part of ISIS? We have to keep ourselves from knee-jerking and say that sometimes you'll just find a couple of whack jobs who simply put want to find ISIS, they find it, it becomes something to launch them other than just becoming somebody who truly believes in the message.
Yeah, I think, Ed, we can't lose sight of the fact that there's going to be people that are inspired, people that are supporters, people that are sympathizers, not necessarily active members of, but they're going to be supporters and people like that that go out and act based on some direction that ISIL or ISIS has put out over social media. There's nuts out there, basically, that will do that. And in that case, we have to be prepared for those people. The vigilance and the paying attention to these things today is like never before, for the cops, for military, for their families, even for the media, for people in the press and media today. There's been direction from ISIS abroad to attack these people. So, we can't get complacent. We can't not pay attention. And we probably have to pay attention today better than we ever have in the past.
Bernie, about 90 seconds I have left. You mentioned the military, and I want to point out that in Istanbul, members of a Turkish nationalist youth group called the Turkish Youth Union assaulted 3 American sailors. It came as something of a shock to people. But from your experience and your knowledge, what should we be doing overseas to help better protect these members of our military who are walking the streets in cities we believe are friendly?
Well, you know what, Ed, the host governments are really responsible, and it's going to be interesting to see what Turkey does about that event. Are these people held accountable? Are they taken into custody? Are they prosecuted for this attack? People can't just go out and start grabbing American citizens and American military service members, especially when we're there assisting those countries. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. That being said, the military, the State Department, they have a number of protocols in place that they teach the American service members how to respond, how to act. And I give those guys a lot of credit. I watched that video. They basically were in a position where they got away from those guys, went on about their business. They weren't harmed. I give them a lot of credit for not responding in a very different way that could have created a big conflict.
It certainly is important that the American servicemen overseas realize what's happening. I'm sure they're told every single day, keep it calm, keep it quiet, don't let anybody get to you. Bernie, Bernie, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, breaking back as we turn to the issue of amnesty and the disaster it has already created even before the president signs his edict. And at 34 minutes after the hour, how the National Security Agency went partners with Iraq and changed warfare forever. That and a whole lot more coming up right here on MidPoint, where every day we question everything.